Good morning, guys. We'll get started shortly. I'm just waiting for a few people to trickle in, and then we will get started. Good morning, guys. All right. Good morning, guys. Hope everyone's having a great morning. I know we're starting a little bit earlier than we typically do, but I'm excited. We've got a special guest here today. We've got Dan Wood. So Dan, I've got bunch of people on our Facebook page as well. So there's actually more people
Okay.
on our Facebook, so I'll manage that one. We've got some
Okay.
camera shy people in our brokerage, so
Yeah.
most of them like to hide on that page more than Zoom. But yeah, we'll do a quick start. So I've been following Dan for honestly, probably since the beginning of my career, probably like quietly behind the scenes. Dan always has a lot of big ideas. I know I throw lots of ideas at you guys too, but sometimes it's nice to hear from somebody else other than just me. So we've got Dan here, who's going to be talking a lot about how you guys can get some seller leads, which is honestly something that a lot of people ask me about. Especially in this market, we're in a very low inventory market. So we need some ideas of how you guys can get some seller leads out there and get some listings on the market. I'm all about listings, list to last or list to exist, whatever you guys want. I think it's one of the most powerful things you guys can do for your business is to have listings. So hopefully Dan can give us some really great ideas that not only you guys can take in, but hopefully start executing right away. And that's one of the good things that Dan does is he gives very actionable items that you guys can hopefully take away with you guys and start doing. So I'm going to let Dan kind of take the floor and do a presentation. Dan, do you prefer us to do questions throughout or questions
Yep.
after? Throughout?
Throughout.
Okay, perfect. So if anyone has questions on Zoom or if you guys are tuning in on Facebook, just type it into the chat. Or if you want to put your hand up, I think that's an option here too, maybe. So if you guys have questions throughout, just shoot them at him. And then Dan, I'll let you know if I see any on the Facebook group as well.
Cool.
I
Yeah.
will let you take it away.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, I'll share my screen. Can I? Yep, I can. Awesome. Now, I have a cold. I'm extremely sick. So if I sound bad, it's just because I'm sick. So sorry about that. But I will provide you value. The most highest value is to get more listings, right? And so right out the gate, when I first started in real estate, I thought it was like any other job. Like if I go work at McDonald's, they're going to teach me for 2 weeks how not to burn the fries. And then I thought when I get into real estate, they're going to teach me how not to burn my clients. And I realized real quick that I had to wear so many hats and I basically had to like kind of do it on my own. And when I first started in 2007, I looked extremely young. And so my family wasn't using me. And like friends and family, I just didn't have any of that in the real estate space. So I had to get very outside of the box thinking on how am I going to connect with people. So I made it a mission where every day I would come into the office and I had a rule that I wasn't allowed to leave the office until I've had 12 conversations with 12 people about real estate. However, I made that happen was a new journey every single day. So I'm going to give you just a ton of ideas that I use to generate seller leads. This first one is just kind of a fun one. Um, I ended up buying a transport truck load worth of boxes. It cost me about 2 grand. And I ended up putting those moving boxes as kits on Craigslist, Kijiji, Facebook Marketplace for sale. And people would come and pick up these moving kits. And I had like a $50 package, a $80 package, a $150 package. Now, who do you think the people were that were coming to pick up moving boxes? People that are moving. It was awesome. So every week I would get like 4 or 6 people just showing up at my doorstep, and I'd strike up a conversation of like, "Oh, are you getting ready to move or what's going on?" And some people had already moved, others were getting ready to move. So for the people that were getting ready to move, I had buyer packages and seller packages already on hand, ready to hand them. I'm like, oh, here's this. And I would also give them labels that they could put on the boxes for each room. And obviously, those labels were also branded as well. And so not only did I get like I made money from the boxes. I paid 2 grand for the boxes and I ended up selling them for like four or 5,000. Um, I just kept doing that, buying transport truck loads worth of boxes, and it was a really good idea. It worked out for me. It probably won't work out for many. It sounds like a crazy idea, but anyways, some of you might be like, damn, that's brilliant. Okay, one of my coaching clients, she has a farm area of 400 homes. And so what she did was she did a CMA for each house within her farm area. And she ended up, when the last time we talked, she ended up having 25 listing appointments from it. Um, not like, oh, we're going to sell our home today, but more like people wanted to go into more detail of what the home is worth, buyers, sellers, that sort of thing. But anyways, 25 is amazing because what's the average agent do in a year? Not 25. And so the idea was this. She had her son go up and down the street and take a photo of each property using a real camera. Do not use Google Street View. Because if a person has a piece of paper with like your branding on it and it's talking about the house values and there's a photo of their house and it's blurry, smudgy, like it just looks like trash, that reflects your marketing. So use good quality photography in all cases. So anyways, she didn't do 400 in 1 week. She did 100 a week, 100 a week, 100 a week, 100 a week. And what was inside the package was on the cover was a photo of the house itself. A 50 page 2 was like a 50-year trend to basically show the straight arrow up that house values have always been going up like that. And then page 3 was a 12-month snapshot, not specifically of like, hey, Joe Blow, 123 Street is worth X amount of dollars. It wasn't that detailed. It was more of like a generic report for the neighborhood. And then there was QR codes that would drive people to her seller page and a call to action to book an appointment. And it worked out really well. And I encourage you guys, if you have a farm area, to do a CMA for each property. And it's not even doing one for each property. She did a generic one, but the cover of the report was the photo that she was delivering it to. Because if a person looks in their mailbox and they see a little package that has their picture of their house on the cover, there's a good chance they're going to go through it before it hits the recycling bin. This one is my favorite idea of all my ideas because it's the most logical for most of you. And it's the nosy neighbor alert. So a lot of people come to me because they want the magic bullet. They want the internet leads, they want that sort of thing. And most people don't need that. What most agents need is to be working their database. So I want to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to tell you a little story. I'm on camera. You see it. You see me. Hey. Okay. So the idea is this. I would the first time I called my database when I was in real estate, I was using other scripts and another program, and it made me feel like a dirty salesman. Like I didn't want to call my friends and family and hey, I haven't talked to you in 5 years. I got my license. Like that's how I sounded, or that's how I felt. I wasn't saying those words, but that's how I felt when I was picking up the phone. And so I developed a 1-2 punch strategy for calling my sphere, especially at the very beginning, to build the relationship so that I could keep the conversation going forward, was a 1-2 punch. So punch number one sounds like this. So first of all, it's really important that you start with a clean list. So you should look at your friends, your family, your past clients, if you're fortunate enough to have that. Your phone, go through your phone, look at all the contacts in your phone. If you go to Facebook, you know how there's a search bar on Facebook? You can actually type friends who live in and then put your city. So I'm from Oshawa. I'm not in Oshawa anymore, and I travel full time. So this is actually like a tour bus. So I have been remote living since 2018 or something like that. And every time I move to a new city, I'll go to Facebook and type in friends who live in Ottawa, friends who live in Vancouver, friends who live in whatever. And it pulls off a list of all your friends that live in that city. And so if you do that, go on Facebook and type in friends who live in whatever your city is, you're going to be out of the 50 or 60 people or 100 people or whatever it is, you're going to be like, damn, oh yeah, I forgot about him, her, him, and her. And there's people that like, I want you to pick a list of the warm people that if you were to call them, one, they would answer, they would know who you are and what you do. So that's the warm list that I want. Okay. So once you have that warm list, you have to have a reason for picking up the phone and calling them. So I'll just tell a script that sounds like this. So I pick up the phone, Laura answers it. And I'd be like, hey, Laura, it's Danny Wood over at ABC Realty. Hopefully I caught you at an okay time. Pause, let her answer. If she answers, I'd be like, awesome, Laura. So you can totally relax. I'm not asking you to buy a home or sell a home, but I do have something that impacts your area, and I just want you to hear me out and play along for a second. If you could guess, how many homes do you think sold in your neighborhood last year? Do you think it was like 3, 8, 12, 20? And you can be totally wrong. Just take a wild guess. And she says a number. It doesn't even matter what she says. She says 8. I would be like, 8. Okay, so you would agree 8's not a very overwhelming and spammy number because we have this new system that what it does is it emails you all the real estate activity just in your pocket. And obviously, you're going to see the homes, what they're selling for, and the prices, but you're also going to see the home renovations that your neighbors are doing. You're going to see the home staging ideas that people are doing to property similar to yours. And it like you say, you might get 8 a year, so it's not very overwhelming, and I don't want you to miss out. Is it okay if I include you on that? And if so, what's the best email? And I stop talking. That awkward silence they makes them fill in the gap, and they're like, "Oh yeah, email." So then she spits out her email. So I write down her email and I confirm the email because I want to make sure it's a .com, not a .ca or whatever. So I get her email, and then I'm like, "Look, Laura, I really want to make this hyper local for you. Can you let me know what your mailing address is, like postal code and everything? I just want to dial this in for you." And she tells me her mailing address. Great, got it. Thanks, Laura. Okay. And I was obviously we would have more of a conversation about like what's new and exciting with her, blah blah blah. So that's a great first conversation. So then when we hang up the phone, what am I going to do? First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to search her up on Facebook or Instagram and make sure that I'm following her. And I'm not going to send her a message and say, hey, like my business page. No, I'm going to send her a voice message saying, hey, Laura, Danny here. Great connecting with you on the phone. I'm going to be sending you that information and we'll just keep in touch. Okay, bye. Click. The reason why I like the video, or sorry, the voice message is because I don't have to shave, I don't have to comb my hair, I don't have to look good, I don't have to like not be in my pajamas. And I I can do voice because it actually like brings my personality through as opposed to me typing out a message. Check. So added her on social media. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that information. Oh, by the way, that phone call, I got her phone number, her email, her mailing address. These are like if you look at most databases, it's like Swiss cheese. You got the email, but you don't have the phone number. You got the phone number and the email, but you definitely don't have the mailing address. Like it's like very rare that your database has all three for everybody in your database. So I made it a mission that was my mission. If you were on my sphere of influence list, my friends, my family, my past clients, I had to have your name, your phone number, and your mailing address. All right, check. So I got those three things. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set her up as a prospect match so that she gets alerts through the MLS based on just that postal code or the farm or the street or the condo building, like depending on the client. And I would set her up as a prospect match. And now what's going to happen is she's getting real estate related content that's relevant to her. It's self-creating because you don't have to do anything once you set it up as a prospect. If something new happens in the area, it gets emailed on your behalf. It's real estate related and branded as you. It's like one of the best real estate drips that you can put a person on. And it doesn't cost you anything. You've already got the MLS, right? So I set her up on that. Then I'm going to add her as a contact to my database. And in that contact, I'm going to, if a person is important enough to be added to your database, they're important enough to have a next call date. So I never put a person into my database without a next call date, because if you don't have a next call date, guess what happens? You don't call them. And then 6 months go by, a year go by, 2 years go by, you got a big hot mess of a database, and you're like, oh, this database sucks. I'm buying a new one. And then you switch to a new database when it was not the database's problem, it's yours, you just weren't using it. And so that's step number one, punch one, to build a list and to call them all with a real estate related conversation. That's step one. And then punch number two was, how do I keep connecting with these people without feeling like a nuisance? So I became a professional fun haver, where every month or every other month, depending on how busy I got, I would put on an event. And it was just experiential events that I personally wanted to do. And then it gave me a reason to include others. So the first one I did was goat yoga. And I saw it on Facebook years ago. Like obviously years ago, it was probably like 2010 or something when I did this. And so anyways, I did goat yoga, and I'm like, man, I really want to do goat yoga. So I'm driving in North Oshawa and I see a farm with a bunch of goats. Pull in, knock, 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 talk to the farmer. I tell him the story that like I saw somebody do goat yoga on Facebook and it looked hilarious. And I saw that you have goats. And I was just curious, would you want me to entertain your animals for an afternoon? And he cracked up laughing. He's like, oh my God, guy, yeah, you can definitely do that. So check. I got the goats. So then I go on to Facebook and I'm like, hey, we got this goat yoga thing happening at the end of the month, but we need a yoga instructor or a Pilates instructor. Who do you know? Tag them below. And I had a whole bunch of people tagging their friends that are yoga instructors. So my social media kind of popped off a little bit as well. Then I called the newspaper and the Oshawa newspaper, and I said, look, you guys need positive, colorful, share-worthy stories. At the end of the month, we're doing this goat yoga thing. Would you send out a photographer? They said yes. So I got press. It didn't cost me anything. And I got to do something that I just wanted to do. And I got to use it as a reason for calling my database again. So then I pick up the phone and call Laura. She answers the phone. I'll be like, hey, Laura, it's Danny Wood here at ABC Realty. Hopefully I caught you at an okay time. She says, yeah. I'm like, awesome, Laura. So you can totally relax. I'm not asking you to buy a home or sell a home, but I did want to reconnect with you because at the end of the month, we're doing goat yoga. And it's exactly what it sounds like, yoga with goats. And it's going to be a blast. And I want you to come along and have fun with us. So if not you, who? Do you know anybody else who would want to do that? Whether she says yes or no, it doesn't matter. If she says no, we just still got a conversation going. And when we hang up the phone, I'm her friend in the business. I'm the guy that thought of her to include her and at least invite her. A lot of people don't want to go, but they still want to have the opportunity to say no. They still want that thought, like people thought of me and invited me club. So everybody on my sphere of influence list is in the club. And so every month I did a different event, or every other month, it would depend. Sometimes we did a self-defense class and a CPR course back to back. No, I'm just kidding. But we did do self-defense course and a CPR course. I rented the deepest pool in Toronto and we did free diving lessons. I did a Segway tour in Toronto. I'm out in Vancouver right now. So I'm still doing this stuff. I'm out in Vancouver right now and I'm putting on an event for realtors, and we're going to do stand-up paddleboard in downtown Vancouver, like on the water, obviously, as the sun sets and the sun is going to be hitting the glass on the buildings. And we got glow in the dark boards. I found a company that has, I don't know if the boards are transparent and they fill them with glow sticks or what, but they're glow in the dark stand up paddle boards. And then I'm going to hire a DJ and strap him into a dinghy and pull him behind me. And we're going to have like a little rave thing. And it's just an experience. People are going to have a blast. It's hilarious. It's fun. And it just gives me a reason to pick up the phone and call people, invite people, include people. Nothing to do with real estate. It's just all about being fun. And so, golf lessons at the driving range, that's one that you guys could do coming up. Call up the driving range and say, hey, do you have a group rate if I get like 8 or 12 people out? See what they say. Maybe there is a group rate. And then hire an instructor to hang out with you for an hour and just have that instructor walk up and down the line telling you all how bad you are. It doesn't matter. It's just like for fun, right? Um, we rented the bar for a big UFC fight, like a whole section of the bar. Just box seats of the Monster Jam did that as well. You know what I mean? Like random, crazy, weirdo stuff. Stained glass making did that. Check. Make and takes where you make wreaths and take it home. A seasonal thing. We did. I had a essential oils girl come in, and that one was crazy to me because I had 83 people show up, which you don't need that many people. All you need is like 8 people, 12 people, 6 people. You know what I mean? Small groups is totally fine because it gives you the permission to still call your database every month about whatever that event is. So you don't need everybody to show up. You just need a reason to be reconnecting with people. Anyways, 83 people to that one event, I thought was odd because it was essential oil stuff, I guess popular. And 3 of the people hopped on a plane. One girl came from another country. I was confused. I don't even know what's going on anymore because I was just putting on an event to have people do networking. And anyways, so like with your own gut instincts and things you want to do, things that look like fun to you, start putting that on. You're going to do business with people that you know, like, and trust, and vice versa, that they know, like, and trust you. And here's the deal. Most people know 3 other real estate agents. Their cousin is a real estate agent, their best friend's wife is a real estate agent or something, and the guy down the street's a real estate agent, like whatever. Everybody knows like 3 realtors. So how are you going to stand out? Well, by every month, every other month, every quarter, reconnecting with them to invite them and include them on something that's really fun. You win the race. You just got to keep showing up. That's the deal. Okay, so I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. And I won't be able to read the comments. So if there is a question, just like read it out loud, please. That script that I just read, and I have a whole list of events that you can do. My cell number is written on the video. Oh, wait, I'll stop my video. Okay, so see my cell number right here, 647-699-6047. If you want like that script written out and a list of all of the events, text me. Just be like, hey, I'm watching your webinar with C21, the best company in town, and whatever you want to say, it doesn't matter. Send me a text at this number right now. And then later on today, so I've got 8 appointments after this webinar. So I'm not going to be responding to you today. I'll probably respond to you tomorrow. Or maybe later on tonight. I don't know, whatever. Anyways, if you want that script, text me. Coming back. All right. This is another idea where we would hire a photographer for our database. So in the summer, we would do a mass email to everybody in our database saying, if you're planning on moving this winter, we have hired a photographer to come and take photos of everybody's property now so that the grass is green, the flowers are blooming, the sky is blue. If you think that you're going to be selling within the next 6 months, let us know. And this every year we would do this blast and pick up like 3, 4, 5, 6 people just from doing this. It's just like a really good way to shake the tree and see who falls. And then we would do campaigns targeting our database, and we would have a photo of a home in the summer and a photo of a home in the winter, and like the comparison of the two, and then have a call to action that if you're thinking of selling in the winter, we'll get your photos taken today. And it was free. The photos were free. Obviously, not selling a house is not free. And but it was a really good, like, it didn't cost us a lot of money. We hire a photographer for one day, and then say we had 6 properties, or she would just drive to the properties and take exterior photos. He didn't have to go inside the home. We just wanted the exterior photos. This is huge in the States, and I do not know why people don't do it in Canada. But you could buy these info sheet boxes, and they're plastic. It's you put your feature sheets in it, and then you put it and strap it to the side of your for sale sign. And so on our feature sheets, we would have the feature sheet of the property itself on the one side, and then on the back side of the feature sheet had all of our other listings. And then some people might be like, why would you advertise other listings, somebody else's listing on their for sale sign? And then to them, I would say, look, because you got 16 other people all doing the same thing. Do you want to be removed from that program? It seems like a huge bonus to have your home featured on all these other signs across the neighborhood. So these things cost you like $20 or $30, and you fill them up. When the home sells, then you take the feature sheets out and you fill it up with like house value related content to try and convert leads that way. It's super cheap, like super cheap. I do not understand why every for sale sign doesn't have one of these. You're missing out if you don't. Google is an obvious logical place to be at if you want to advertise, because you can search anybody who is searching like how to sell my home, Oshawa house values, Oshawa house prices. I'm only using Oshawa because this is where I'm from, but you obviously would do the city that you're from. And so just dominate these 4 phrases reworded for your city. I mean, it wouldn't cost you whatever, say $100 to $400 a month to just go all in on not all words, not all keywords, just these 4. Why? Well, because it's very logical that if a person is searching Oshawa house values, Oshawa house prices, Oshawa home prices, that they're probably thinking of selling, right? And so if you want more listings, well, you got to fish where the fish are. They're on the internet. So Google is a really good option for you. I do want to share with you a little side note that has nothing to do with sellers, but buyers. I really liked targeting open houses online. The reason for that is because they're hopping into a car this weekend. Of all the internet leads that I can get, the ones that are hopping into a car this weekend are way more further in the funnel of getting ready to move. And so I just doubled down on open house marketing. Not that I had to do the open house, I was just driving traffic to a landing page that stop here. So on my landing page, I was like, hey, it's Danny Wood here at ABC Realty. If you're thinking of going to the open houses in Durham Region this weekend, then you're going to want to fill in the form below. And what you're going to get is a list of all the open houses coming up this weekend. Plus, you're going to get a list of all the homes that match your criteria so that you don't miss out. And as a bonus, if you're interested, you can also get a free house value report. So I'm a real guy and I'll really follow up. Fill in the form below. Boom. I had a video up at the top of me talking about that. And then when a person registered, you know what the thank you page was? On my website, I had the IDX listings automatically populate the open houses. So that was the thank you page because I knew that they wanted to go to the open houses. So I gave them a list of all the open houses. And I only ran that ad from Monday to Thursday. Why? Because Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they're already like hopping into a car. I needed time to connect with these people and to get them set up on a prospect match. And so I had my ads run on a schedule Monday to Thursday every week. And anybody that was searching anything to do with open houses in my area, I would drive them to that landing page and then I would convert them as a lead. All right, share screen. If any of you do geographic farming, Google banner ads is brilliant. If you don't do geographic farming, like if you don't do door knocking, if you don't have a billboard, if you don't have do direct mail, then just like cover your eyes and close your ears because I don't want you spending money. But if you do, then Google banner ads is a brilliant spot because for about $50 a month, you can get 20 to 60,000 impressions just in that pocket. And I mean, think of the cost of an impression. How much does it cost if you did a direct mail to 400 homes? Let's just assume it's going to cost more than 400 bucks. Okay, well, what about, and each one of those pieces of paper that gets delivered, that's in theory one touch because they look at it in the mailbox and it goes in recycling. Touch one. All right. Well, for 50 bucks on Google, we can target just that postal code and you get 20 to 60,000 impressions. So I wouldn't do this on itself. But if you are doing the door knocking, the direct mail, the geographic farming sort of thing, this is like icing on the cake. It's like it's almost like you have to do it if you're doing those other things because it's so cheap and it's just really good at branding. It's really bad at lead generation. People don't click these images to like go to your website and fill in a form. I mean, some people do, but most don't. It's all about getting your name and your recognition in the face of the people that live in that community. YouTube ads is also brilliant, not for generating leads, because how many of you watch a YouTube video and then hit the skip ad button? Oh, all of you? Yeah, everybody does. Like hardly anybody watches the full ad. And that's the beautiful thing for you as an advertiser is that you don't pay on YouTube if the people hit the skip button. So they have to watch up to 30 seconds or more before you pay for for that free exposure. And like 99% of the people are hitting skip. So and they have to watch the first 5 seconds. They're forced to. So in that first 5 seconds, if you could be like, hey, it's Joe Blow over at C21, you're getting your name recognition out, your branding in, and then they hit skip. Free advertising. It's awesome. So YouTube is a really good space for free ads. Obviously there are people that watch the ad. There are people that aren't even like looking at they're listening to music and then your ad comes on and so they didn't really see it, but you still got charged. So you will have a cost, but most of the time people are hitting the skip button and it's just free advertising. What's cool about YouTube is that you can target a list of specific videos. So a couple years ago, there was a mass exodus of people leaving California to go to Arizona, Texas, and Nevada. And all the news outlets were hyping it up and making a big story about the deal. So what we did was we took our agents that we coach in Arizona, Nevada, and Texas, and we ran ads of those agents in front of anybody that watched the video of people leaving California. And we ran it as a commercial in front because we specifically said we want to target this video to anybody who's in California. So that was that. You can also target keywords. So we could target keywords of anybody that's watching a video that is about real estate investing. I would advertise my real estate investing tour. I did a real estate investing seminar / tour where we would actually go and look at duplexes, triplexes, fix and flips every month. We would meet at the office and then do like a caravan tour. So I would advertise anybody who's in Durham region that's watching any video that has to do with real estate investing. And then you can target specific channels. So I, as a test, targeted I got a list of all the real estate coaches in North America that have a YouTube channel. There's about 60 that I found that were of like any substance. And so what I did was I targeted anybody that watched any video from those channels. I ran my commercial in front of the video, and it was to book a free coaching call. Because obviously they're like watching real estate coaching videos. So it makes sense. Now, don't do that and be like, oh, I'm going to advertise in front of real estate agents. I'm just giving you the ideas of like, you can target specific channels, just don't be all weird about it. Google has a thing called in-market audience, and you can target people who are in the market to buy certain things. Real estate is part of that. So you can actually target people that are buying a home soon, retiring soon, commercial real estate, renting, and like I think pre-construction, and then one other one. So, and how does Google know that somebody is about to buy that? Well, they look last month of all the people in North America. What websites did they go to on Google? Did they go to realtor.ca? Were they going to Zillow? Were they going to the franchises? Were they going to whatever? So check. What about on YouTube? What videos were they watching? What keywords were they searching? On their Gmail, did they get an email that said mortgage pre-approval? Because they own all, like Google, Gmail, YouTube, it's all one company, and it's all cross-connected. Like you signed the agreement when you created your free account that you can share your data within these platforms. And so now they're just tracking you and creating an avatar. And so they can predict of all the people that bought a house last month, what activities, what things do they do? And then they create an avatar. And now going forward, they can predict who's going to be buying. If you were to advertise and pull money out of your pocket, Facebook to me is still the cheapest place, because all internet leads are garbage. Surprise, there's no good source really of internet leads. And so it's about a 2 to 4% conversion rate for internet leads. So it doesn't matter if you're doing lead generation through another company, you're doing it through Facebook or Google, it's generally going to always be between 2 to 4% as an average. And so if they all have the same conversion rate, why not go for the one that gets you more leads for less money? That's my thought. So Facebook is obviously a really good choice. We used to do this strategy in the newspaper. The further away from Toronto you get, the cheaper the houses are. So Oshawa is cheaper than Whitby, and Whitby's like cheaper than Pickering, sort of thing, kind of. I think now maybe Whitby's gone up, but anyways, back then it was a little bit cheaper. And so what we would do is we would take like a Bowmanville listing, and then we would advertise it in the Oshawa newspaper. We would take an Oshawa listing and we would advertise it in the Whitby newspaper. We wouldn't say that it was from Oshawa. We just said beautiful, beautiful bungalow, blah blah blah. And everybody's looking at the Whitby newspaper, and all the prices are like pretty similar. But then they got this one beautiful looking bungalow that's like, why is this like $100,000 less? You know what I mean? And so you can take that same concept and do it with Facebook. So look at I would do a 30 or 40-minute radius. Anything outside of 40 minutes, I would refer out, to be honest, because the more business you get in that area, the more business you're going to get, and then you're going to be busy and you're going to be stretched. So I'd rather you just like really focus on a narrow area. And so anyways, we could do the same thing on Facebook where we take a Bowmanville listing and advertise it in Whitby. It works, man. I mean, it's not that clickbaity where it's like, oh, I'm taking a $60,000 Newfoundland listing and advertising it in Toronto. That's just completely false. Nobody's going to move there, right? But if I advertised a Bowmanville listing in Whitby, there is a chance that people in Whitby would move to Bowmanville. I know that for a fact because we helped so many people move from Whitby to Bowmanville. All right, so if you want free leads, I have I'll stop the video and just be on camera here for a second. So when I I wanted to buy a rental property that would cash flow, and it was very challenging back in the day. It's challenging now. It's like, how do you find anything that can cash flow with the cost of the house? But anyways, I couldn't find anything. So what I did was I started door knocking. I pulled off a list of all the homes that were ever listed for sale that fit my criteria, whether they were still for sale or not. And then I went and door knocked the whole neighborhood. The reason I did the whole neighborhood is because if the one guy had his home listed for X number of dollars, there's a good chance his neighbors are the similar construction. They're probably a similar price and the same construction. So if I like the other house, there's a good chance I like the homes in the neighborhood. So I would go door knocking. I went door knocking in the neighborhoods, and I would knock on the door, knock, knock, knock. As soon as they opened the door, I would take like 2 steps back to create breathing room. This was way before COVID. And I'm like, hey, I don't suspect you're selling a home or your home or not, but we really want to buy a home in this area. And I pull it in this case, it's a Kleenex. So I pull out the piece of paper and I start tapping on a map. So this is a Kleenex. On my piece of paper, I had a map up at the top left of the street that I was door knocking. So if I door knocked 6 streets that afternoon, I had 6 stacks of paper with 6 different maps because people tune in to what's in it for them. And in North America, we read left to right, top to bottom. So the hot zone on a piece of paper is the top left. That's the first thing that the eye sees. So this is the most important part of the piece of paper. So I didn't put my face, I didn't put my logo, I didn't put my call to action or guarantee sale program or anything like that. I put a map of their street because people tune into what's in it for them. And if they see their street, there's a little more interest of like, oh, what's going on here? Okay. So I say, I don't suspect you're thinking of selling or not, but we really want to buy in this area. And I'm tapping on the map. And once they're looking at the map, they're not listening to me anymore and they're not looking at me anymore. So I clap the paper and I'm like, and I cover it. And I'm like, no, no, this is for you in case you think of anybody after you steer me away. If not you, who? Do you know anybody in this area that's thinking of moving next? And that just gave them full permission to get rid of me. And because I wasn't trying to sell them on anything, it opened up conversation. And I ended up buying 2 houses privately for myself. And I'm like, damn, this worked out so well. I'm going to start doing it for our buyers. If we have a buyer that's specifically looking for like a certain type of bungalow or whatever, I'm going to start door knocking in the neighborhoods that have that type of property. And I had a picture of the buyer and the story of why they wanted. And it worked really good. For every 1 hour that I door knocked, I would get 2 appointments. That of all of the like prospecting activity type of stuff I did, that one was the most fruitful to have 1 hour in, 2 appointments out, 1 hour in, 2 appointments out. It was like consistent. So I definitely encourage you that if you would do that, the door knocking with that letter, I can give you a template of it. Just text me at the 647-699-6047 number, and I'll send you a copy of that. It's on Canva, so you can just like edit it and make it your own. Okay, let me go back to here. Okay, so that was the door knocking one. The other one was here on Craigslist and Kijiji. I would call all the landlords. So I would pick up the phone and call all the landlords that had a home for rent in Durham region. And I'd say, hey, Joey landlord, I noticed you got a home for rent. Is it still available? And they would say, yeah. And I'd be like, awesome. So I totally appreciate that you're going to rent this out on your own. Now, I am a real estate agent, and I just want to see if you would be open to the idea of me casting a larger net. If I was to bring you offers for sale, you don't have to accept any of them. You're not committed to it. But would you at least be open to the conversation and like have you even thought of what that home could sell for? A lot of landlords don't want to be a landlord anymore. And so how many homes are for rent in your city right now? I can guarantee hundreds, right? So you could be absolutely crappy at this and fall flat on your face and still walk away with 2 listings. It's just a numbers game. So, and they're literally advertising like the fact that they got a vacant property and they're advertising the address of the property and they got their phone number and it's just a fresh list every week. The other one is what was it? Fizbos. Okay, so don't run away just yet. But on Craigslist and Kijiji, there's a section of Fizbos for sale by owners. And so I would pick up the phone and call these Fizbos and ring, ring. Hey, Joey Fizbo, I noticed you got a home for sale. Is it still available? They say, yeah. I'd be like, awesome, Joey. So I totally appreciate that you're going to sell that on your own. And I believe that you will. Now, I am a real estate agent, but unlike all the other real estate agents that are probably calling you and hounding you to get your listing, I actually want to see if I could help you on the buying side. See, as a buyer agent, you don't pay my fees, and I want to pull the needle out of the haystack because I'm assuming when you sell that home and the roof over your head, you're going to need another home. And if you do, what areas are you moving to? Oshawa or Whippy? And I just stopped talking. And then that forces them to correct me because they'd be like, oh, never Oshawa, Whippy. Got it. Whippy. Okay. And so now I'm just trying to work with them on the buying side. I'll try and get to them on the selling side later, but not on the very first like 30 seconds of the phone call. You know what I mean? Like trying to make out with the person on the first date. It's weird. So I'm going to try and build a relationship with this person and provide value and not like try and go right for the listing on the first breath. All right. So I just shared with you this door one. I'm gonna skip this. I'm going, yeah, okay, I'll tell you this one too. So there's on your website, when a person registers for whatever, your newsletter, anything that they happen to register for, what happens? It takes them to a thank you page. Or no, sometimes it doesn't even take them to a thank you page, just like flashes a message that says, thanks, check your email. Well, that's a waste. You should always try and double dip. So if a person registers, for example, this is what a typical like thank you looks like. Thank you, please check your email. Instead, flip it and then try and double dip. So if a person fills in a form on our website as a buyer, the double dip is great. Would you also like a free seller consultation? So we're just asking, do you want fries with that after they place the order? They've already given you their contact information, so you might as well ask them one additional question or try and bump sell them on something. I have a universal thank you page that I take people to for my coaching, and it just shows all the different products and services that we offer. So that's like a universal one that I like to do. But just don't use the thanks, check your email message. You're wasting your breath. You might as well put at least your social media, something. Um, deal anniversaries. So check this. On my phone, I'm just going to say to my phone, remind me in 11 months, Joe Blow's home closes. Check. You can't see that. But anyways, I didn't have to unlock my phone, log in, do anything, go to CRM, nothing. I literally just told my phone, remind me, blah, blah, blah. And then at that date and time, guess what's going to happen when I wake up that morning? On my screen is going to be reminders of like, oh yeah, the anniversary for Amy's house I sold last year is coming up. It's in a month. So I always did like a month before the closing, just as a reminder. But that's an amazing hack of not dropping people in the cracks, like their anniversaries and stuff. Remind me, blah, blah, blah. So that's a cool tool. You all have that. Like you've all got a phone in your pocket. Yeah. Okay. So you've got like either Siri or Google or Alexa. Like I don't know what you guys are using on your phone, but there's definitely some sort of voice assistant. And you just tell it, hey, remind me, blah, blah, blah. I do that all the time. Watch this. Remember where I parked. It thinks I'm parked in the living room. But anyways, I was with a girl yesterday. I was hiking in the forest and she was lost. And she was actually really lost because where she actually parked was like way far. And so I showed her that trick next time. Like next time, whenever you park, just do remember where I parked. And then after you're done your hike, watch this. So I'm going to open up my phone. All right. Where did I park my car? Boom, parked car. right here in the living room, and it would take me directions to it. So that's a cool little hack. Your phone is your best little buddy. The voice command, I use it all the time for literally everything. You don't even have to unlock your phone. Okay, there's websites tools that allow you to add a pop-up on your website so that when a person gets to your website, it instantly pops up and it's like, hey, like our page or subscribe to us or whatever. Pretty annoying. I get it. However, you can get certain ones that when the person goes to your website, it never pops up unless they're leaving your website, they're closing the browser, or changing the URL. If that happens, then it pops up because they're already leaving. So you might as well ask if they want fries when they're going out the door. If you ask enough people, do you want a free consultation? Do you want a free seller report? Do you want to get set up on an MLS alert? If you ask 100 people, the law of averages apply, and maybe you get 6, maybe you get 8, maybe you get 3, maybe you get none, but you're already getting none. So what's the difference? You might as well have this on your site, unless of course you don't have traffic. If you don't have traffic, just you don't even need to be distracted with this idea, because if you don't have traffic, it's not going to pop up and you don't have to have the expense of it. So I'm going to stop here. I want to say thank you guys all so much for hanging out and being with me. I am actually really sick. Like, of all the colds I've ever had in my life, besides like pneumonia, that was painful. This one is the most pain that I've ever had in my throat. And and I've got like 8 more calls coming up, and I have to switch over to my next one. So I want to like just say thank you guys so much for hanging out and being with me. If you want a copy of that script, if you want a copy of that Canva template, then send me a text at this number right now. It's my cell. I won't be responding to you right away, but I will be responding to you later. I just want to see. Oh yeah, I got a whole bunch of you message me so far. So that's awesome. Thanks, guys. So for those of you that did, that actually is me. It's not like automated. It's me.
That's awesome. Thanks so much, Dan. I really appreciate it. Those are some very good ideas, hopefully not too beyond it. So guys, if it's anything that's too much that you guys don't understand, Dan's a really good resource to reach out to, especially for the ads and stuff like that. I have a very basic understanding of most of that, but Dan will be a much better resource when it comes to Google ads and all that stuff. So don't hesitate to reach out to him. And Dan, is it okay if I put this on YouTube just for our own guys
Yeah,
to find?
totally.
Okay, perfect. So if you guys
Yeah,
want the
and
recording, I'll stick it.
I just typed out my contact info, the cell number, and my Instagram. You can share that as well, or in the chat, anybody here, you can just click. That works too.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Anyone have quick questions? I know Dan's got to go, and I know your throat's probably gonna conk out. So thanks so much
Yeah.
for pushing through for us.
Yeah.
I think that's good. I don't have any on Facebook. Awesome. That was great.
Sweet. Okay, well, hey,
Okay.
we should do it again.
I guess
I'll
we'll
come
see
back
you
and I'll do a
at
different
Realtor
topic.
Quest, maybe? Awesome.
No, I'm speaking at like 4 other cities that week,
Okay.
not at Realtor Quest. But I
No,
wish I did.
no worries. I'm sure we'll see you on a stage somewhere soon, though.
Okay, bye guys.
Okay, bye, guys.